Welcome to Well Read, a program about a little bit of this and a little bit of that at your Ames Public Library. Hi, I'm Jerry Hyde, Youth Services Manager at your library, and today we are working on our third of a six-part series of youth services, early literacy, and teen services. So today we are going to focus on letter knowledge and writing. With me today, I have two very fantastic interns from the Iowa State University. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm sure some of our viewers have seen you around. So Elsie, would you like to begin and tell us a little bit about yourself and what your major is at Iowa State?
Yeah. My major is sociology, and I'm in my third year. I'm also doubling in political science. I really like working with people and working with the community. That's why I came to work here, and also working with children. So sociology for me is focusing on helping children in any way that I can.
So what department are you with at Iowa State?
I'm in the Department of Sociology, is my core, and then also the Department of Political Science.
All right.
Yeah.
And not last, but Rachel.
I am a senior at Iowa State. My major is Child, Adult, and Family Services. I have an emphasis in child and youth. I want to be a child life specialist and do play therapy with kids in the hospital. So that's why I'm here, just to work with kids and get to know the literacy side of working with kids.
And also the play side.
And the play side, yeah.
Which happens to be next month's
Yeah.
play is that focus. But today, again, letter knowledge and writing. So what kind of things do you think are important for a child to learn how to write?
I think it's important for kids to learn how to write is developing their fine motor skills. To write with a pencil or a pen, they have to use their fingers and develop those muscles well enough to be able to write.
And our fingers, they say, research tells us that our finger muscles in our children are not developing like they used to because one, the social type of iPads and computers technology, and another is that we tend to eat more finger food now than we used to. So when we use silverware or forks and spoons and knives, our fingers work harder and to develop those muscles. So when we go through drive-throughs of fast food places and are only eating certain things that with our fingers, we're actually not helping that. So there are different ways, though, that we can help our fingers get stronger. And those are our finger plays that we do in our story times and when we're one-on-one interacting with our children. There's another way that you were just doing a craft, an activity not very long ago. Both of you were. One with our Saturday Play With Me, and another you were playing in shaving cream. So Elsie, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Saturday morning special about writing with me?
So the Saturday morning special Write With Me was focusing on helping fine motor skills. The activity was for children to use paper hole punches and punch holes around a circle paper and then put string through it. So with using the hole punch, it was really hard for a lot of kids, but that's how they were strengthening their fine motor skills, using their fingers and using their whole hands as a muscle to push down on it, and then using the string to put through the hole was hand-eye coordination like we were talking about earlier. So it was to help develop those skills, and I just explained it to the parents because the kids are just playing, So it was kind of teaching the parents also a way that they could hone those skills at home.
And so you said that they were in shapes. What shape were they working with?
They were working with circles.
With circles.
Yes.
And what shape does a lot of letters have in it?
A circle.
Circles, right? So circles are really important to manipulate the outside, and what were the holes? What shapes were the holes?
Circles.
Circles. So not only were they helping their hands develop those muscles and their fingers, but they were also doing letter recognition or beginning phases of letter recognition.
Yeah.
And then letter recognition and writing kind of go together. So tell us a little bit about your activity that you did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so we did an activity with shaving cream, and we just had the kids write in the shaving cream. And so it's a fun sensory activity that we did, and the kids really like getting messy. So I can write, since my name is Rachel, can write the letter R, show it off. Ta-da!
And so, you can smooth
And
that
you can
out and
smooth it
erase
up.
and smooth the board and start again.
Yeah, so you can write A, and it's a good way for kids to learn how to write their letters, and they can make mistakes and wipe it off and start again. And the parent can even demonstrate. So A is down, down, across. So then the child can go down, down, across, and make 2 A's.
So, and you can do uppercase letters and lowercase letters.
Yeah.
I noticed you did the R. I always like to say that is your special letter because it's your first letter of your first name. So Elsie, yours would be an E. And I always like to say that to children because that's one of the first letters that they learn is
Yeah.
writing their name and their first letter. So now you did a different type of letter. It's an R, but it is,
It's a lowercase r.
which is also very important for our family, for our children to learn how to do.
Yes.
So you can do that. It's really fun to do on a big table and to mark it all up
Yeah.
and draw circles and do that. We had to do it on the cookie sheet to kind of control it here today.
Smells really good as well.
That's
Yeah, yes, you did it very well, Rachel. And now, see, your hand is dirty. What are you going to do with that?
I'm gonna wipe it off.
You're going to wipe it
Yeah.
off, but you're not going to eat it?
No.
No?
No.
Well, eating is a favorite pastime of mine. And
Me as
chocolate. So I haven't always done it in the shaving cream, but I like to do it with pudding. Chocolate pudding especially. And then my grandchildren and I, and we always do our special letters, and mine happens to be a J. My granddaughters are A's, and so when the first granddaughter was born and her name was Aurora, her special letter was A, but then my daughter and son-in-law decided to name the second daughter Alexandria, and so she also had the special letter, and that was kind of interesting trying to explain how come she's got a special letter and she's got the same special letter. So I highly recommend that you name children with other names, but we've made it through. The third child is Azra, and she has a letter A too, so we all have special letters of A.
Yeah.
So, but it is a great way to start that beginning writing and making those fingers manipulate, in this case, the shaving cream. So I know you guys all asked about the balls, what the balls were doing here. And actually, that's one of the very first things that babies can do to start learning that recognition of letters. And that is because it's the shape, and they can get the concept of it being round and taking the shape around in the space that it's in. So whether it's a small ball or a large ball, or in this case the beach ball, they can hold on to it and see what happens to it and see how it rolls on the ground and or feels in their hand. And so then, of course, this is not a very big thing for me to hold, but for a little baby, even 6 weeks old, they can actually hold on to it and move it around. But to have that happen, it's their first steps of recognizing those shapes that they will later use in shaving cream or chocolate pudding,
Yeah.
or writing with a pencil, or pen or color, which is another reason why they need to use their fine motor skills. So how about those, what happens when we put those letters together?
Making words.
You make a word, and then, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say you talked about the special letters and putting the letters together. At the daycare that I work, that's some of the kids' favorite things to do is I want to spell my name, and they just do it over and over and over again. So practicing their fine motor skills and recognizing their name and the letters in their name. So they'll always be like, oh, that's in my name. That O is in my name. So
Very, very true. Then the practicing it over and over again reminds me about scissors and cutting. That's always a very important thing for us to do too, is just let them cut, whether or not they're cutting a circle or maybe not a perfect circle, or just cutting. That cutting helps develop that fine muscle skill and the eye-hand coordination too. So seeing those letters, we've talked about seeing them. That's letter knowledge, and recognizing that an A is an A or a Z is a Z, and all those letters in between. And there's both uppercase and lowercase. And then, but each one of those letters makes a sound. And so how important is the sound and the letter shape for each other, for a child to hear?
They're very important, and just talking to your child even helps them know what sound or what letter makes what sound. And they're able, when they put the words together, the letters together, they know what different sound they make, because putting an E with some letters makes a different sound than an E with other letters.
Right. The English language is very, very tricky.
Yeah.
And it has all these rules.
I know.
And they'll learn a lot of those rules once they get to school. That's what our teachers get to do, is share all those wonderful rules that go along. The parents and daycare providers get to do the fun part, or at least I think it's a fun part. We get to play in shaving cream and chocolate pudding, and make those shapes. And then as we're making those shapes, when the boys and girls were back in the makerspace area making those shapes on the shaving cream, the conversation, just as you said, Rachel, with mom and dad or the caregiver, or in your case, you, guiding that activity along, talking about those letters, not only what they are, but also the sound. Many songs also do that too. Yeah, where we
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, you hear the phrase, sound it out. That's something you always hear growing up, and when you start reading books and you hear them struggling, you're just like, sound it out. And obviously you'll help them along. But when you're talking about putting the letters together and talking to them and showing them the different sounds that letters make, that's what I thought of to help them learn to read.
And we have plenty of books that do all those kinds of things. I have a couple of my favorite books, and I think they were all our favorites. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, with the letters climbing up and all falling down. That's kind of what my display here reminded me of, is that the coconuts or the balls. You have to use your imagination, right? That's all about what letter knowledge and the sounding and writing is all about, is that symbol is representing a sound, and those symbols together represent another sound or a group of sounds, and then that is a word. Another particular book that I like is Tana Hoban. And Tana Hoban has, this is an alphabet, my first go-to, other than Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, book is this one. So not only does it share the letters, but it also shares the numbers, which is another important skill or knowledge for our children to have. So letter knowledge and number knowledge to help with those math literacy skills. And this particular book goes into our math with our money, so it also takes care of that portion of it. But if we flip it over and go to the front part, let's see, we also have our letters, and a wonderful book that we can do similar to what we did with the shaving cream, and that's to trace what the letter looks like in both uppercase and lowercase. And there's not a whole lot of books that do this in this way, that is simplified with a word to refer to it, or a picture for the word to refer to it. So a great conversation book putting both things together, the letters, and the shapes, as well as the sounds when you're making the word out of it, and then the math literacy. So we put all these letters together and all these sounds together, and what do we get?
Words.
Words. And when we put our words together and we put them all in a page, what do we get? A book. And when we have a book that is in somebody's hands, what are we doing? Reading. And how do we get there? But with our early literacy skills of letter knowledge and writing as well, to reinforce that letter knowledge. Once you learn the letters, at least in the English language, you know all those. So it's one of those skills that you learn once, and once you've learned it, you can, one of the few literacy skills that you only have to do one time when you get memorized. Writing can help you get to those words on the page.
Yeah.
So if I were to ask you what one of your favorite children's books are that you would love to read to a child, it would be?
That's so hard.
It's hard.
The Hungry Caterpillar.
Oh, The Very Hungry Caterpillar?
Very Hungry Caterpillar. I was like, is it too
By
hungry?
Eric Carle. Yeah, no,
Yes.
it's one of my, you can see I knew it.
Yeah, I love that
Eating
one.
the apple and yeah, so that's a wonderful one.
classic.
And
I would do Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. That's a fun one to
That is
read.
fun.
So, well, whether you're a teen or an adult, somewhere, somehow, when you were a little child, you learned your letters and you learned to write. And by combining all those, you became a successful reader. And so we want that for all of our children in our community. And so send them to the library or sit down and read with them and talk about their special letter in their name or on that page. So until next time, happy reading.